This is New Media TV in London.
Warning! The following program may contain graphics and video images that some viewers may find disturbing and traumatizing. Some of this violent content may be too graphic and intense for some people. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
In a time where trust in mass media is declining around the world, it has become even more important to support good, accurate journalism. Supporting such investigative platforms is defined as content that is ethical, independent, critical, and of public interest. Good journalism and investigative reporting cost money. In alternative social media platforms, SMP, good journalism ensures the possibility of a good society, an accountable democracy, and a transparent government. For continued free access to the best investigative reporting, we encourage you to consider making a modest support to this noble endeavor. By contributing, you are helping to sustain the publishing of digital content and ensuring information remains free, fair, and available to all. We try to make sense of the chaotic world around us. Your support is vital. New Media TV.
At New Media TV in London, we are non-traditional. We are what is known as alternative media practitioners. We differ from established or dominant mainstream mass media in terms of our content, production, and distribution. We aim to combine the flexibility of a fictive technique to deliver robust and delightful content. We foster participation, the strengthening of a civic attitude that allows our viewers, audiences, and followers to be active in some of the spheres relevant to daily life, and to put their right to communication into practice. This is our philosophy. Content disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this media or comments on this channel are those of the speakers or authors, and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos and audios may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. This channel's owner claims no copyright to said content. The broadcaster of this channel cannot be held accountable to the copyrighted content. The broadcaster of this channel is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify the accuracy of such information, but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this channel. On this social media network, we aim to address Nigeria's socio-cultural and political problems in areas of national identity, conflict, poverty, endemic corruption, inequality, nepotism, terrorism, agitation, high level of child mortality, unemployment, poor health, and education, collapsed in infrastructure, cultism, ritual killings, herdsmen crisis, tribalism, and home violence.
As a precaution, This channel would also like to state unequivocally that we have all rights to use in all of our media broadcasts over 700 royalty-free tunes. These entire package was purchased and delivered by email. Tuesday, January 12, 2021 at 17:17 hours in London from soundsbest.com and a paid subscription and program from Movavi Video Editor.
New Media TV. Beyond the headlines. News in its purest form. Live stream with confidence. Contact us on +44 208 180 0433. Voice over Internet Protocol. WhatsApp +44 7467 634 822. Please like, subscribe, share and to follow us on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. The live stream will start soon.
Yes, hi. Good evening, guys. Good evening, all. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, good evening to you from wherever you're watching the live stream, from wherever you are on the surface of this planet. Yes, I salute each and every one of you, my avid viewers, listeners across the whole world. Yes, today's date is Sunday, the 16th day of the 3rd month of March 2025. As you can see right down there, and the time in London is 19:57 exactly tonight in London. Now, if this is your first time on our channel, please don't forget to like, follow us and subscribe to our channels from wherever you're comfortable with. I'm your host, Frank Bello. Yes, you are welcome to the stream. Tonight, we want to talk about Nigeria, a nation of murderers. Yes. We won't be shy. We want to spit fire as it should be done naturally in an investigative platform. And I beg to be corrected by anyone that Nigeria is not a nation of murderers. Yes, that's exactly what we want to talk about. Yeti Queen, good evening. Patricia, good evening. Ajani, Babatunde Benson, good evening. Anibolaji, good evening to you. Please share the stream because this might be of interest and very, very educative to some of your friends, families, and relations anywhere they are in the whole world. Yes, this is coming live to you from London. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Michael Odochukwu, good evening to you. You're welcome to the stream. I've got a couple of menu, that is topics that we are going to treat tonight. It's been a while since I live stream. I've been uploading some videos, as you guys can appreciate from time to time. I hope you guys, you're watching those videos. They are very, very important and extremely very educative. Yemi Fuluke, you're welcome to the stream. Yes, long time. Thanks for tuning in. Good evening to you. Yes, what we have in store for you, this menu is number one topic on the agenda is Australia and Nigeria. You guys will be wondering, why am I bringing in Australia and Nigeria together? You will soon find out the reasons why I am actually going back to Australia and then bringing in Nigeria's case into the fold. That's number one topic. That's if we can treat everything, but I hope to treat each and every of those topics. Second on the menu is Nigeria Lessons publication that was published in the Times of London in 1998. Since Frank Bello is a custodian of information, many of you, let me assure you, you are not quite aware of some of the things that I've got archived, and like today as we are talking, thank God that I am alive. We are able, and I am able to actually make reference to such publications that will nourish your inner mind and your soul. So you guys can now begin to see where things really went wrong, and how those murderers and those decapitated leaders killed the Nigerian dream. Third on the agenda is Nigeria, a nation of murderers, rivers of blood, which is the main topic of tonight. And then I'm going to take you from that topic of a nation of murderer to something that perhaps many of you are not really aware of, to which I have been engrossed inside it for some time. It is something called Vision 2020. I'll tell you more on that later. And then the meaty part of what we have to deal with today is a letter, an open letter that was written to former President Olusegun Obasanjo by someone called Are Karume Kakanfo. A very interesting letter, because for some time I have been talking and I've been elaborating more on that particular issue and the topic. But you see, anytime I made a live stream or upload a video, since live stream started on both Facebook and YouTube, that I have been active, you see, many people, I am saying it, many people are not aware, but maybe a couple of years later, some information that has been in the public domain that I've really talked about, we've discussed all about it some 5 years ago. I am quite flabbergasted that some people now, who are now social media pundits, are now talking about things that I had already elaborated, analyzed to you guys 5 years ago, but because many are dumb and many fail to find the right or the necessary information to nourish their body and their soul, are in a complete fix, and they've been left in the dark. Let me put it that way. So we're going to go through that letter, and then that letter, because there are so many issues raised in that letter, that open letter to President Obasanjo. So that will lead us into June 12, MKO Abiola, to which I personally investigated the issue as far back as 2011 to the letter, and I think I was talking to someone recently, and hopefully I'm going to bring that person onto the platform after the Ramadan fasting. So we're going to treat that, and then that will lead us into Bola Ige's assassination, the unresolved murder, and then finally number 8, myself advocating from this end of the dispatch box. I won't stop, and I'm not going to relent in my effort in telling President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reset, to rearrange, and to restructure Nigeria. Now, the issue of the restructure that is coming at the tail end of the stream, now by the time we start with the first on the menu, Australia, Nigeria, you will have clear understanding of the presentation. Yes, let's get started, and I hope you guys will enjoy this stream. Ajadi Olusegun Oluremi, good evening to you. I can spot you. Please, guys, if you've not done so, please share the stream to your loved ones, your relations, and family so that they can benefit as well. I've got all the slides in the studio prepared for you. Let's start, first of all, with the very first slide, which is this one: Australia and Nigeria. It's going to be interesting. You can clearly see the Nigerian flag and the Australian flag. Okay, some of you might be wondering, and you might probably like to question, why is Frank Bello bringing in Australia into the limelight? Yes, I'm bringing in Australia for a very, very good reason. And the next slide that you can see, how big is Australia? Australia, how big is Australia? Now, don't forget, these two nations that is in front of your screen, Australia and Nigeria, are all former British colony. In fact, Australia is still under the, well, they've got their independence, but their flag indicated so. But before we got our own independence, Nigeria too was using the Union Jack flag. So how big is Australia is the question. Yes, how big is Australia? Now, some of you will understand that Australia is a continent on its own. Yes, Australia is a very, very big continent, south in the southern hemisphere. It is very big, and it's right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. For some of you who are very accustomed with your geography, how big is Australia? And you can see this is Australia. This is the map of Australia. Now look at Australia very, very well. That is Australia. Map of Australia showing states and territories. Now, how big is Australia is the question. How big is Australia? Now, I can honestly confirm to you that Australia is the area size of Australia is 7,688,287 square kilometer. That is the size of Australia. That is the size. That country and a continent. That is the size, Australia. Yes, Australia. Let me show you once again the size of Australia. Australia is 7,688,287 square kilometer. What about Nigeria? Look at Nigeria, area size. We've dealt with this time after time, as you guys can appreciate. Nigeria area size is 923,768 square kilometer. That is the size of Nigeria. Okay, so when we look at the size of Australia, Australian size, ladies and gentlemen, don't be surprised. 10 of Nigeria, 10 sizes. Put Nigeria into 10 different places. It will fit Australia perfectly well with its area size of 7,688,287 square kilometer. Now you can clearly see Nigeria. So Australia is 10 times, if not more, the size of Nigeria. Where am I getting into? Now, Australia, despite that huge size of the country and the continent, Australia was never divided into many states but territory. The way the British molded Nigeria was the same way they molded many of their colonies and their territories, such as Nigeria. Now, in Australia, we've got Western Australia, Northern Territory, Southern Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and Tasmania. So altogether, we've got 7 territories. 7 territories in Australia. If we put Tasmania into it, 7 territories. Now, don't forget, Australia is 10 times the size of Nigeria, and Nigeria is only 923,768 square kilometer, divided up by the British into 3 main regions based on the ethnic boundary lines. And by 1963, the Midwest was carved out of the Western region, Eastern region, and Northern region, making 4 regions. Where am I going into? The complete decapitation of Nigeria, as a matter of fact, like I have been telling you a lot, started moment Gowon introduced the feudal system and then broke the structure that the British put in place in Nigeria in terms of the ethnic boundaries to which each and every territory are autonomous on their own. So the moment Gowon divided the country up from the 4 main regions into 12 states, meant Nigeria was completely on the brink of collapse. Now, Ghana operates the same way the British molded them. Gambia, the same thing. Jamaica, the same thing. New Zealand, the same thing. South Africa, the same thing. Uganda, the same thing. Kenya, the same thing. All this British colony, they left everything the way the British molded them. Now you can clearly see why we are in such a terrible situation in Nigeria, that today Nigeria is struggling to find a sense of direction. And each and every time you get a new leader, the new leader will, as a matter of fact, perfect the looting and the stealing that's been perpetrated by the previous administration. So because Nigeria was not necessarily a nation of its own, it was a knitted country carefully molded by the British. So each and everybody that gets into power just wants a bit of the slice of the cake of their own loot. But it is the same problem for many of the black African nations across the whole world. Even in Jamaica, Jamaica is not exempted from all these shenanigans. Now, let me show you this particular letter. This was the publication. I bet many of you have never seen this before. this was an article on Nigeria that was published in London Times, Wednesday, 15th July 1998. You can clearly see that. Now, it was a Nigerian lesson, according to the author of the article. And the author of the article happens to be Sir Peter Smithers, Parliamentary Private Secretary to the Ministry of State and the Secretary of State in the Colonial Office, 1952 to 1959. Now, this was a letter written by Sir Peter Smithers in that particular period, but it was later published in the Times of London, Wednesday, 15 July 1998. Now, in the letter titled Nigerian Lesson, Sir Peter Smithers wrote and then said, "Sir, during the negotiations for the independence of Nigeria, the view of the Secretary of State at that time, with which I agreed, was that in Nigeria we should attempt to put together a large and powerful state with ample material resources which would play a leading part in the affairs of the continent and of the world. This was attractive, but it involved forcing several different ethnic and cultural groups into a single political structure." Hey, did you get that? The British, they've admitted that they molded Nigeria fraudulently, and that they agreed that it was part of their agreement at the time to put together a large and powerful state with ample material resources which will play a leading part in the affairs of the continent and the world. Yes, I am not surprised, because this particular letter was part of those information that was archived very safely at the London College of Printing, and I got hold of it as far back as 1996, when I was doing some assignments, because many of my assignments at the time involved loads and loads of investigation. And I came and I met other investigative documents that stated that the British deliberately created Nigeria to be a sample or a country that they can showcase to the whole world, not just Africa, but the whole world. And that should Nigeria succeed in any form, any other black nations around the whole world will be successful. You see, but I think the mistake the British made as at that time was not putting into context or into perspective the fraud, the enviness, and the inability of the black race to actually rule themselves very, very successfully. Now, the letter carried on and then said the negotiations were complex and very difficult. The chief problem, as I remember, relating significantly to the control of the police and the military. So it was very complex, and this was the period that the Sardauna of Sokoto, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, and all those founding fathers were seriously negotiating their own terms with the British establishment at the colonial office at the time. But the main point for discussion and what really bothered the British establishment as at that time was the control of the police and the military. Now, in 1998, when this letter was published, it was then said that in the retrospect of 40 years, that is 40 years of Nigeria's independence, which I believe was in the year 2000, it is clear that this was a grave mistake which has cost many lives and will probably continue to do so. Now, I want somebody to please correct me if they are wrong, the times were wrong, and exactly what the author of the letter was saying was equally wrong. Tell me that between the period of our independence to date, I want you to begin to count the number of lives that were lost in the political struggle, and you will now clearly see how that will take us into the brutal assassination of the former Attorney General Chief Bola Ige and MKO Abiola. You can clearly see it. The British, they said it was a grave error, and that in retrospect of 40 years of Nigeria's independence, as at that year in 2020, when Nigeria clocked 40 years of active independence, it is clear that this was a grave mistake which has cost many lives and will probably continue to do so. That means many lives will still be lost. Now continue to see how Fulani headers, Boko Haram, bandits are killing innocent Nigerians. Don't let us go too far into the state assassination. It would have been better, this carried on, it would have been better to establish several smaller states in a free trade area. Did you get that? It would have been better for the British to establish several smaller states, referring to nations, such as Yoruba Nation, Igbo Nation, Ijaw Nation, Fulani Nation, Hausa Nation, and the Tifi Nation or the Middle Belt Nation, smaller states in the free trade area. Now, the letter carried on in exculpation. It must be said that we did not then have the examples of the collapse of Yugoslavia and of the Soviet Union before our eyes. Yes, those countries were intact. It should now be clear for all but the willfully blind to see that it is extremely dangerous to force diverse racial and social entities into a single rigid political structure, such as that which is being built upon the foundation of Maastricht Treaty. Yes, he was referring to Maastricht. The British rejected the Maastricht Treaty. So, if the British can reject Maastricht Treaty, what stops Nigeria from going their separate ways? After all, the amalgamation expired as far back as 2014. Anyway, And then the letter concludes, recent history suggests that it will be best to complete the development of the common market to call a halt to political integration of Europe. So he was actually referring to that, and then brought in the issue of the European Union. Nigeria, a bloody mistake. Did you hear that? A bloody mistake by the British. And here is the letter to which I blew it out for you to see the Nigerian lesson. What lesson have you gathered based on these facts that's been presented to you? Because at some point in time, some people from the Fulani extraction will tell you Nigeria is indivisible. You cannot divide Nigeria. Shame on such leaders. Yes, I said shame on such leaders. See, begin to count Nigeria. 1960 to 2025. This will make Nigeria 65 come 1st of October 2025. 65 years of painful existence, mental torture, political instability, nothing to showcase. 65 years of existence. Rather than that, the country, according to my own personal description, is a nation of murderers. And I beg to be challenged. And because that nation, that country is a nation of murderers, what are we getting? Nigeria is rivers of blood. Blood flowing left, right, and center all over the country. It's such a big shame. Such a big shame in what we are getting out of a decapitated nation. Yeah, Patricia, thank you. Handpick waving, thank you. Now let's go into the next one. Item number 4. How many of you who knows something about this program, Nigeria Vision 2020? Who is familiar with this agenda? Please interact with me. What do you know about Nigeria Vision 2020? Here I said it was a mirage or autopsy of policy failure. Okay, if anybody gets Nigeria Vision 2020 right within the next 5 seconds, I've got a prize for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nobody got it right. Yeah, I don't want you to Google it. That's why I put 5 seconds on it. Nigeria Vision 2020. You see, let me tell you a little bit about this Vision 2020, Nigeria Vision 2020. See, Nigeria is good on paper, but not good with policy. Trust me, the only country in the world that I know is good on paper. When you see their paperwork, you but practically is zero. You see, Nigeria Vision 2020 was a vision conceived by the late President Umaru Yar'Adua in 2007 when he became president. That was Umaru Yar'Adua's political agenda, Nigeria Vision 2020. And inside the Nigeria Vision 2020, Umaru Yar'Adua detailed plans of the plans he wanted to implement in Nigeria in 13 years. That is, the plans that Nigeria must follow in 13 years. Now, Vision 2020 consumed a lot of money within Nigeria and in the diaspora. But although the money was flowing from Nigeria through Umaru Yar'Adua's government to government political wing or quangos in the UK, such as NADO, Nigeria in Diaspora Europe, and the Council of Nigerians in the UK, CANOC. Those two fraudulent organizations established by the Nigerian government back home. So, Vision 2020, when I saw the document, the policy document, I thought it was good. But then and again, I questioned the viability of the Vision 2020. And I said, is this a mirage or autopsy of policy failure? Now, go and ask Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, what has he done with Umaru Yar'Adua's Vision 2020 agenda? See, we've got a problem. And so long as Nigerians are not addressing the critical problems that they ought to address, then the country is bound to fail. The country is bound to fail in all ramifications. Vision 2020, 2007 to 2020, 13 years if I am right. What happened? Nigeria, rather than move forward, went backward 500 years behind civilization. Many of you are not aware of this. Not many people are aware of some of the policies and documents and some of those secrets that the government will lie to everyone, especially those of us in the diaspora. They want to package fake projects and the rest of it. Then they get diaspora involved. And who are the majority of those who are in the diaspora? The largest population of those that are in the diaspora are not even northern Nigerians. They are not Hausa Fulanis. The majority of Nigerians stuck in the diaspora are mostly Southerners. It is not fair because you cannot rob Peter to pay Paul. You see, Vision 2020, none of you are aware of this particular Yaradua's political program and agenda. None of you. You see, Obasanjo deliberately implanted Umaru Yar'Adua as an extension of his third term elongation. He knew fully well. Umaru Yar'Adua was sickly and he was incapable of ruling. That's another topic, because there are so many secrets that are tied inside the emergence of Umaru Yar'Adua and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan merged. That's another topic that we have to really look into, and I know the full gist behind that particular area, to which I'm ready to expose everything, so long as you are able to catch up with me. You see, this is now bringing us into the next session, item number 5. Open letter to Obasanjo. Remember some time ago, the same Obasanjo claimed, and I'll put it on the slide, that Nigeria has failed to meet expectations since independence. Good evening, Olusoga Badamosi. Thank you for that. Please, guys, interact with me. Nigeria has failed to meet expectations since independence. Now, guys, tell me, is Obasanjo not proving me right regarding that same letter I showcased you earlier on, that the Times published in 1998 by Sir Peter Smithers, telling the whole world that it was a grave mistake and error that the British made in molding different ethnic people, tribes together. The same Obasanjo now telling the world that Nigeria failed to meet expectations since independence. Let's now go into the open letter that was written to the former president by Yes, I think we are back now. Yeah, I think we should be back now. Yes. Yes, we should be back now. Yes, we are back now. So, yes, so let's go straight into the open letter that was written to the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, and I have it in front of me. The writer of the letter is Are Karumi Kakanfo. That's the author of the open letter, and I'm going to read it as written by him. He said, "Dear sir," "I was shocked when I read what you said in the news last week. Nigeria must be restructured to avoid disintegration. Would you believe that?" Obasanjo said he said Nigeria must be restructured to avoid disintegration. Look who's talking. He said, "I couldn't believe my ears that our former president Olusegun Obasanjo could openly advocate for true federalism and restructuring. Wow, God is really excellent." He went further. "Sir, is it true that you said the present Nigerian structure has turned your Yoruba race into second-class citizen? Am I dreaming or what?" He kept on questioning the former president. Then he went further in the letter. He said, "Sir, are you just realizing that the Yoruba people are actually a conquered people within the contraption called Nigeria after you have spent over 10 years as the former civilian president with 8 years in office and the head of a military junta in the country from 1976 to 1979 before you handed over power to a Fulani teacher by the name of Alhaji Shehu Shagari? Then he questioned Obasanjo to now ask, what were you thinking when you were using state forces and actors like the Nigerian army and the police to kill, maim and destroy fellow Yoruba people and other southerners like the people of Odi? You remember the bombing of Odi? All in the name of one Nigeria." He then went further. He said, "With all due respect, sir, why are you trying to turn into a Yoruba nationalist all of a sudden after you have openly denigrated and spat your people both home and abroad for the sake of other ethnicities, most especially the Fulani oligarchs and the caliphate in northern Nigeria?" I was laughing as I was going through this open letter to the former president. Are Karumi Kakanfo then said, "Your atrocities against the Yoruba nation are uncountable." Obasanjo's atrocities against the Yoruba nation are uncountable, and we are going to see why. He said, "As far as I know, you have never used your position and influence to preserve the Yorubas or fight against it, needed out against ethnic national. within Nigeria. That was true. And we are going to see why. We remember, and I remember as well, very vividly, that Fela Anikulapo Kuti's mother, Mrs. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, was killed during your regime as the military head of state. We will never forget that. Make no mistakes. Chief Bola Ige was also assassinated during your regime as the civilian head of state. We will never forget. We're still going there. Both the killing of Fela's mom, Mrs. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, and Chief Bola Ige, we're still going there on this live stream. To date, Aye Karimi Kakanfo said, to date, nobody has been prosecuted for the assassination of those bright Yoruba citizens. I've done a live show regarding the state assassination of the late Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Chief Bola Ige. I'm still going to go into that part just a little bit as well. He went further. He said, we still remember the hatred and bitterness you harbor against the late sage, Chief Obafemi Awolowo. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Chief Obafemi Awolowo stood, dedicated, and sacrificed his life for the Yoruba nation till his death, while you planned for his legacy to be permanently erased and destroyed in Yoruba land, in Nigeria, and throughout the entire world. Yes, Obasanjo did that. Now, Yoruba legend, the Afrobeat king Fela Anikulapo Kuti was beaten and tortured by soldiers during your regime as the military head of state, which led to the death of Mrs. Ransome Kuti's demise at the time, when Fela then released an album coughing for the head of state. You see, Yoruba on Yoruba, make no mistakes. This man hated anyone. Obasanjo hated not just only the Yoruba people, but if you are from Egba in Abeokuta, Obasanjo will make sure he killed you. Today, Fela is one of the most fantastic Yoruba sons who graced and walked the surface of this planet. Pa Obafemi Awolowo won the election in 1979, clearly, but you openly campaigned and rigged the election in favor of a Fulani candidate. Remember, Obasanjo was even quoted as saying that the best candidate will not win the election. We're still going there. Are Karimi Kakanfo said, your hatred for MKO Abiola is also well known. You see, MKO Abiola, just like Fela Anikulapo Kuti, another Egba man from Abeokuta, hated by the same Olusegun Obasanjo. After you became became the president of Nigeria on the back of the Yoruba agenda in 1999, according to Are Kalumika Kanfo, and the sacrifices of MKO and Kudirat Abiola, UN backed on the campaign of whitewashing the struggle of June 12. That was right. You even said that MKO Abiola is not the Messiah Nigeria needs. What a shameful statement by you, sir. When patriotic Yoruba citizens were fighting to reclaim Kwara State from Fulani hegemony, anarchy, and apartheid system of government in 1999, led by Iba Gani Adams at the time and Mohammed Lawal, Olusegun Obasanjo openly unleashed the military and the police to massacre thousands of Yoruba freedom fighters. But Obasanjo, we will never forget all this. You handed over power back to the Saraki dynasty and the Emirates in Kwara without thinking twice, while the Yoruba nation was cursing you for treason. And that's why the Yorubas, we all hated Obasanjo to the gutter, and will never do anything, the Yorubas, unless you are a prodigal Yoruba who must have benefited under Olusegun Obasanjo. If you are one of his beneficiaries who looted Nigeria's coffers dry, then you are not in the limelight. But for a majority, 99.9% of the Yorubas will hate the god of that man called Olusegun Obasanjo. Should we even mention how he used thugs, deceit, and betrayal to destroy the Alliance for Democracy, AD, and the Afenifere group? Yes, you did. Are Kalumi Kakanfo said, we still remember how you refused to give Lagos State, a Yoruba state in Yoruba land, monthly federal government allocation for 3 years. That was right, when Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the governor. This was because the then governor of Lagos State at the time, led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, now president of Nigeria, to which you opposed him vehemently from becoming the president, complained to you at the time about why Lagos State has 20 local governments while Kano State contributes nothing with more local government to the Nigeria's revenue, and they have 44 local governments. See, Lagos 20, Kano that contributes nothing in terms of internal revenue generation. They've got 44 local governments. Lagos that is contributing more than any other states in the decapitated nation called Nigeria has got only 20 local governments. And that was why during the period, the governor of Lagos at the time, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, created the local development agencies, LCDA. We'll never forget. Obasanjo's response was to starve Yoruba sons and daughters living in Lagos to death by withholding their allocations for 3 good solid years. Those allocations were only released to Lagos State in 2007 when Umaru Yar'Adua became the president. Tinubu wanted to build an independent power station in Lagos to serve Lagos State alone. Obasanjo, you destroyed and frustrated the project because it is your ambition to put Nigeria in perpetual darkness. Yet, Governor Fashola could not build the independent power station, even after Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A national census was carried out in 2006 by your government, according to Karimi Kakanfo, which was declared a fraud because of your usual commitment to favoring the Hausa Fulani establishment over your people. And during your government, Yoruba intellectuals, during Obasanjo's government, between 1999 and 2007, Yoruba intellectuals told you and warned you that restructuring and true federalism is the only way out of the impending doom of Nigeria. Nigeria is definitely bound for doom. President Obasanjo, what did you do? What did you do according to our Karimi Kakanfo? You used federal might to silence your critics and openly said you are a Nigerian nationalist, not a Yoruba nationalist. What a shame on you. Baba Obasanjo, I will add Babasi, and I'm not going to disrespect you because you were a former president. You used federal might to silence all your critics at the time and openly said you were a Nigerian nationalist and not a Yoruba nationalist. You are not even proud of your tribe. You are not proud of your own race, Baba Obasanjo. It is a shame on you. Sir, do you remember all these atrocities? Yes, you do. Fast forward those years to 2020, and you are all of a sudden crying and screaming about colonization and Islamization in the year 2020. So now Baba Obasanjo is now an apostle of true federalism and restructuring. Baba, no Omo Yoruba will ever believe you. Baba Obasanjo kò sí ọmọ Yorùbá kankan tó máa gbà yín gbọ́. Ẹ tutù ẹ̀ dànù. Ẹ ń ṣe Yorùbá. You are not a Yoruba man. It is even amazing that you can attend. Listen to this. It is amazing, interesting that Baba Obasanjo can attend the Oodua People's Congress OPC meeting. To talk about the Yoruba agenda after the same Baba openly called the Oodua People's Congress a terrorist organization when he was president at the time. What a shame, Baba Obasanjo. With all due respect, sir, according to our Karimi Kakanfo, with all due respect, sir, you have been more of a disaster to the Yoruba nation, to the Yoruba tribe, than a blessing to the Yoruba nation and the Yoruba tribe since 1960 independence. Baba Obasanjo, you destroyed the Yoruba nation for the sake of your greed and your selfishness. We will never forgive and forget. Yes, the Yoruba race, the Yoruba tribe, the Yoruba people will never in a million years forgive and forget. We will never forgive you and we will never forget. All of you, you're all trying to rewrite history, but we will put everything down. all the history that all of you were trying to twist and then cajole the future generation. Baba, all of you that were in that circle, we will twist everything round for all of you. You destroyed the Yoruba nation for the sake of your greed and your selfishness. We will never forgive and forget your misdeeds. The Yorubas will never forgive. We will never forgive and we will never forgive you. Never forgive you and we will never forget your misdeeds against millions of Yoruba people across the whole world. You, Baba Obasanjo, you were part and parcel of those greedy leaders that sent many of the Yoruba sons and daughters, the brilliant ones, into exile that they cannot return back home. Many you sent in search of greener pastures in Europe and in America. The Yoruba race, the Yoruba tribe, will never forgive you, and we will never forget, and we will continue to educate the future generations about all the atrocities that you and many people committed against the Yoruba people. In the name of Olodumare, according to Are Karimi Kakanfo, the Yoruba nation will get out of this shithole called Nigeria, this murderous nation called Nigeria, and you can gladly relocate your lineage to the north or eastern part of Nigeria to where you belong, but not in Yoruba land. Baba Obasanjo, if truly you are actually remorseful and shameful, you should never talk about the Yoruba agenda, Baba OBJ, because you are the number one enemy of the Yoruba race. Are Karimi Kakanfo then concluded, may Olodumare continue to uplift the Yoruba race. All of you say amen and shout hallelujah. So guys, according to him, I've passed this over, this open letter to you guys, all of you, with all sense of belongings and believing yourself to be a true son and daughter of the Yoruba race. Try and share it with all your friends and your Yoruba contacts. This is extremely important. You see, Darani Jojumo, good evening. You see, this same Baba OBJ see, Nigeria has failed to meet expectations since independence. See, he betrayed Baba Obafemi Awolowo, betrayed MKO Abiola. I'm coming to that. See, those three, he never even wanted Bola Tinubu to become president, but Bola Tinubu showed them the stuff he was made of. You see, remember this? These were records I've kept for such a long time. Fela's house burnt. When Obasanjo was a military junta. I nearly got caught up in that inferno at Alagbomeji Den. Unknown soldier. You can see the records of the remnant of the way Fela's house was burnt. Dr. Bekoran Samkuti was equally involved in the same palaver. And when you look at that, that was when Fela then released those two albums, Zombie and then Coffin for Head of State. See, Fela was an Egba man from Abeokuta, mind you. See, okay, it seems it is back. Yeah, it seems anytime I use the slide from the studio, the microphone gets a little bit confused. Okay, let me see. Let's see. Yes, it is working perfectly. Okay guys, an hour 26 minutes. We've stopped at Obasanjo. Unfortunately, we could not finish with the slide. I've not fancied prolonging this stream for that long. Maybe during the week, this coming new week. Yes, we are going to treat June 12th because that's June 12th, Bola Ige's assassination, the unresolved murder, and the need to restructure Nigeria. Guys, please share the stream, and if this is your first time of joining our show in any of our platforms, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel so that you get notified anytime we live stream and we upload any new video. Let me seize this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for coming in, for contributing. It's been a wonderful night. I hope you guys will have a jolly good week ahead. Now, thanks for watching the stream, and until next time, I hope to come back sometime during this week to showcase new stuff, because a lot is happening at the moment in that nasty piece of a contraption. Some of the issues going on, they're not my kind, because I like to trample on those that messed up millions and millions of heads in that murderous nation called Nigeria. Guys, thanks for watching the stream. Darani Jojuwon, Olushoga, Gbadamosi, Patricia, Ajadi Olusegun Oluremi, Yemi Foluke, Anibolaji, and every one of you. Please share the stream, and we definitely will do it like we always do very, very soon. Thanks for watching the stream. Let's bring it to an end. Until next time, take good care of yourselves, and God bless you. Have a great week, and I'll see you at some point in time. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Good night.
Media TV. Beyond the headlines. News in its purest form. If you have enjoyed this video or any of our podcasts or live streams, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe for more content like this. We make information simple. Your experience matters to us. Liberty Media Communications. Live stream with confidence. Fewness of words. Greatness of deeds. We empower people around the world to stand up for their social or ethical principles of freedom or entitlement. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video or live stream.